97underground.com.
Hey folks, Michael Spedden here, host of The Back of the Rack on 97underground.com, Baltimore's pure rock worldwide, and welcome to the 97 Underground Michael Spedden interview page, where we feature interviews with all the best local and national acts. Remember folks, The Back of the Rack on 97underground.com can be heard every Tuesday from 2 to 4 p.m. Download the free app and listen anytime, anywhere. And enjoy our interviews, folks. Remember, shop small and support local homegrown original music. Now, on with the interview. Hey folks, Michael Spedden here, and welcome back to the Back of the Rack. Today, from Richmond, Virginia, we have the return of Red Rain. Sammy Lee sat down with us today to kind of give us a Red Rain update. They did some more shows this year with LA Guns. As you remember, I interviewed them last year right before they were opening for LA Guns at Annapolis, Rams Head, Annapolis, and had a great time with them that night, getting to meet the band, them and LA Guns, and getting to hang out with them. And they're just a great group of guys, the kind of guys I felt like I'd known for a long time when I met them and I was hanging out with them. They have a new bass player in the band. Their bass player, Larry, had decided to retire on good terms, and they have a brand new bass player named Mike Nagy. And they also have a show coming up with Warrant in July. So we'll talk about that. Remember, their website is redrainband.com. And without further ado, here is my interview with Sammy Lee from Red Rain. And welcome back to the Back of the Rack, the Michael Spedden Show here on 97underground.com, Baltimore's pure rock worldwide. And today, returning our long-lost friend from about a year ago, Mr. Sammy Lee from Red Rain. And I saw Red Rain about a little more than a year ago, down at Annapolis at Rams Head. Did a hell of a job opening up for LA Guns, did a tour with them. The year before that, I understand they did a tour with Nazareth. And so there's been some news with Red Rain that Sammy would like to share with us today. And all good news.
Always good news. Sure.
Always good news. So welcome, Sammy. How you been, bud?
I'm great, Michael. Thank you for having me. And, we've been keeping in touch, so that's great. And it was really great to meet all of y'all. I mean, we met a whole shebang of 97 Underground DJs and employees when we played Rams Head Live. And that was just awesome to be able to sit and talk to you guys. And it was a great show and a great night. We had fun.
It was a great night. And that's one of those times you can always look back and say that was a great night. It was a lot of fun.
It really was. And unfortunately, we didn't get to stay as long as we would have liked, obviously, because we don't have a tour bus. We are our own tour bus driver. So it's always to the next town. But it was just a wonderful night. Saw some other people that I knew that live up in that area, and then meeting all of y'all was really wonderful, because y'all have been so kind to us, and we can't thank y'all enough. Not just you, but 97 Underground and all the folks there. So,
well, we've been playing your material during my show, the Mid-Atlantic Music Marathon segment. A good bit, 3 songs, off of your album. They've, not only, do I enjoy the songs, of course, but other people, they've gone, who was that? Red Rain. Great. So we're getting positive feedback on it too.
Good. Thank you. Yeah.
Which has got to make you feel good, because, whenever you make something, you produce something, you may, there's times when you may think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. Sometimes you put it out and it goes like wildfire. Other times it goes like a lead balloon.
Right.
But I've got to say, the feedback I've gotten from people on your material, and the fact that it's a good sounding album. You did a great job on it and everything. It's been getting you. We've been playing it here, and a number of other people again have asked about it and given good feedback. So that's definitely a good thing.
It is a good thing, because generally we don't get to hear a lot outside of the night we play. So
right.
As you were able to experience some Rams Head Live was a little kind of a smaller venue, not only for us, but obviously for LA Guns.
Hmm.
My drums were all to the side. But generally what we'd like to do is we would actually play our set, and then we run our equipment to where it needs to go, and then we come and try to speak to people who we've never met and obviously have never seen us, and we get a lot of great feedback that night. And then once we leave, you don't really hear a lot, so it's nice to hear that we're getting some good feedback.
Oh, of course.
And as you know, we're an all original
Yep.
band, so
Hmm.
not one cover tune. So not only is it hard to even get your material heard, but to not play a cover tune and all original is even harder. So it's very
Hmm.
nice to hear some good feedback, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, yeah. It's getting tougher, I think, with original material. Just from what I've heard from a lot of people that are doing original material. Not only do you have to contend with the cover bands out there, but now they've got these tribute bands out there
Yeah.
that everybody's got to contend with now as well. And it makes it that much more difficult to really get people to pay attention when you're doing something that's uniquely you. That's just
Yeah,
yours
it
and
is.
nobody else's.
It's yeah, yeah. I gotta be careful here. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I love tribute bands. I do. But the problem with me is, um, as as if anybody's ever heard me or read, I'm a big Van Halen fan. Love
Oh,
Van Halen,
sure. Yeah.
original Van Halen. But for me, I when I want to hear Van Halen, I throw on Van Halen. And yeah, it's good to go maybe once in a blue moon to go see somebody reenact it. But I don't know. After a while, it's just to me, um, it loses its flavor with me,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
and and they're great. I listen. I know I've seen a lot of tribute bands that are just awesome. I mean, to the T.
Yeah, yeah.
But what gets me is I do run across some people who are like, hey, I just went and saw tribute band A. They were so great. The worst thing is there's just no new music out there, but there is, and
There
that's
is.
that's the problem
Ah,
that kills me. And I just want to smack somebody in the head when they say
no, I play it on my show every week.
right. And
You
and
know.
not only on your show, which is awesome, and I'm sorry to kind of tell off a little bit, but 97 Underground in general, like I was explaining to somebody, you guys as a whole, like you can turn on 97 Underground, and I know this, and I'll give you the hey, maybe this is a kiss ass. It doesn't mean to be because but what makes you guys so unique is I could listen to you guys and I can hear Motley Crue, I can hear Metallica, and then I hear a band that's a maybe an unsigned or a less unknown band,
Yeah.
and I mean, and I'm like, okay, this is really good stuff. And so that's what I keep telling people. It's like there's so much good music out there. I'm not saying that, hey, you gotta listen to Red Rain. You
Hmm.
might not like us, but there are other bands that are doing the same
Yeah.
model that we're doing, and there's and it just kills me when I hear there's no good new music, but you spend 50 $60 on a tribute act. I don't know.
Hmm.
And I don't mean any disrespect to anybody who's in a tribute act. I
Right.
really
Right.
don't, but it
Right.
makes it harder for guys who like us who are just trying to spread some new music out there.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that you know, I just want to be sure if these things exist that the original artist is getting their due. There
Yeah,
shouldn't be established classic bands out there driving to gigs in minivans when these tribute bands are driving around in tour buses.
right. I agree. I,
And whenever, and whether it be a community theater, a school, or even a professional theater, if you were to go to a theater and if you wanted to see The Sound of Music, South Pacific, Jesus Christ Superstar, Rent, anything, that theater company has got to pay a licensing fee. They've got to do the material just so. They have to pay a licensing fee, to use the scripts and all those other things.
yeah,
And I'm not
yeah,
so sure it's happening, especially when you see a lot of these bands using a logo with a very similar font to that band,
right.
or their name is like one or two letters off, or a pun on that name, and it looks the same.
Sure.
That's where I really think, as long as the original artist is getting their due, have at it.
Well,
but that's my big issue with it.
so the only thing for me is and I don't mean this as far as me. I'm an original guy.
Yeah, me too. Me
I
too.
mean, obviously,
Yeah.
obviously with Van Halen, I'm a David Lee Roth era Van Halen guy.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's not that I didn't like some of the Sammy stuff, but I'm a Roth fan, true and blue.
Sure. Yeah, yeah.
But I'll take Van Halen out because I'm a fan. But take Aerosmith, love Aerosmith. It's not just the music; it's
Hmm.
the people. It's the the camaraderie or the argumentative or whatever it is between Joe Perry and Steven Tyler or David
Hmm.
Lee Roth and Eddie Van Halen or Robert Plant and Jimmy Page. I mean, it's not just the music. I was telling somebody this the other day. David Lee Roth came around this area and I didn't go see him, and I've never really missed a David Lee Roth show.
Hmm. Right,
I've seen
right,
the
right.
videos, and unfortunately, his vocals aren't where they used to be. We all know that. But
Yeah, yeah.
I will tell you, he still commands presence
You
because
know,
because that's who he is. So you can't replicate that.
that he is a showman, you
Well,
know.
but you can't replicate that presence on stage. That's the
No,
thing. You can't replicate Edward Van Halen's presence on stage.
no,
You
you
can't
can't.
replicate Steven Tyler. And we could go down the list. That to me is what makes the band, not just the music. Because if
Yeah,
you want to
yeah.
hear Panama, and again, I don't mean any disrespect to anybody. You can go to a bar and listen to it, to a bar
Yeah,
band playing it. Somebody who's playing in a bar, not a
right.
bar band, but somebody who's playing in
Hmm.
a bar. I'd rather just throw in the CD and listen to the real stuff. That's me personally.
Hmm.
And for my music, I'm looking for new bands, new music in the genre that I like, and it's harder to find these days.
Oh yeah, it is. Well, the thing is that I get more new music coming to me than I even know what to do with.
Yeah,
I mean, the
that's
emphasis
good.
of the emphasis of my show is classics, deep cuts, those team player songs, the songs you forgot you liked from years ago, bringing those back, as well as supporting local homegrown artists, these indie guys trying to find their own way out there and build an audience.
Right.
You know, that that's pretty much the emphasis of my show. But we do have a lot of other shows on 97 Underground. And I get at least three or four, maybe even five or six albums a week from Europe.
Yeah.
Fresh, new heavy metal, younger people doing it. This is
Yeah.
transformed, or this is going, this is what's the word? Transformed to the next generation, or not transformed, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
Yeah. It's
it's
transcending.
transcended. You're right.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
word. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah. That
Sure.
to the next, so the younger generation is buying it. They're buying it, and they're into making this music, and they look up to the older bands that are out there too. I see a lot of bands just around the Baltimore area when I go to like the Morseburgers and the Zen Wests for a 97 Underground show. There's an older, more established band doing originals. The younger ones are right there with them, watching them, befriending them, learning from them,
Sure.
and really kind of learning their craft to, have their time in the sun too,
Sure.
which is
And I think
really
that's
good.
great.
Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
listen, we all grew up on covers. I played in cover bands when I was
Yeah.
young.
Yeah.
I
Hmm.
when Bubba and I started Red Rain, I had a vision.
Yeah.
And the vision was we're going to play all so it was you're going to look like a band, sound like a band, and play like a band. That was
Hmm.
that was the motto that I had. And
Yeah.
so um and it was going to be all original. I didn't want to, and it's funny, being a Van Halen fan, Van Halen, lived off covers, and so that's a little,
They
but
really did. Yeah.
yeah, but I didn't want to do that. We were approached to do a cover song. I won't go too much into it. And this one sort of producer I had spoken to outside of David, somebody that introduced me, they were like, I see you doing this song. I won't mention who it is because it just didn't even make it past my brain when I heard the name. But he's like, I got this vision and this is the way it is. And I'm like, I appreciate it, but I just won't do it. I just don't want to do it. I think there's, um, music is fleeting enough as it is. You can listen to something that's great, and unfortunately, the next day people move on, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
Uh, then we could dive into that. But I just feel like there's so much good new original music out
There
there.
is, there
And
is.
and I was having a talk with somebody on our team. What happens when the Judas Priests go away? What happens when the Iron Maidens go away? Like
Hmm.
like has anybody like in rock and roll to the booking agency to the promoter, like what does that look like in a couple years? I mean, these guys, you know, as great as they are, at
They're
some
getting
point in time
old.
they're going to call it in, and then who's next?
Right,
You know?
right.
And um, like I became like one of the bands that I discovered, well, not discovered that I discovered on my own, but right now was Dirty Honey. I love Dirty Honey.
Hmm.
A throwback to sort of Aerosmith days. And it's like they were that, I was starting to read a lot about them, and then that just fell off. Like, where did they go? Like, what's going on? What am I missing?
Hmm.
So it's harder and harder. It's harder for an all original band like us to get shows. It's harder, I'm sure not for us, but other bands. And but we're going to continue to kick and scratch and scream and do what we have to do to play a show.
Right, right. Well, like I said, if there's you've sent me great material, and I've given you spins on the show and everything.
Yeah, thank
And
you. We appreciate
it's well worth, there's a lot of other bands too. I was looking over the bands. I think it's close to 60 original bands from this region and beyond too that I've
it.
played in the 3 years I've been on 97 Underground.
That is
And
awesome.
keep them coming, keep them
Yeah.
coming. I mean, some of the bands have broken up or, not continued in that time frame, but I still have the stuff, and I did play it for them. I kept my word and played it. So I wanted to ask you too. It looks like you've had some changes in Red Rain recently.
We did. We
Did
had
you
one
want to
change.
talk about that?
Sure. So I don't know if you know or you may know. So we were asked last October to play Metal Allegiance out in Anaheim. So we agreed to do it. At the time we were doing that, our bass player, Mr. Larry Moore, and again, we've all been together since day one,
Yeah.
had come to us and said that he was going to retire professionally, not musically, professionally,
Mhm.
and was going to, him and his wife had some plans, and he thought that he just couldn't keep it up with the music. He kind of got a
Yeah.
little tired, and we knew that. So he was really going to retire last year, but we got this huge opportunity to go to LA.
Yeah.
We did. We played the Metal Allegiance, and we were a guest on the red carpet with the Metal Hall of Fame, which
Hmm.
was awesome. And we kind of gave that as a send off to Larry. So we knew
Yeah.
back in October it was over. We zeroed in on who we wanted. We knew who we wanted, but and I'm sort of doing the business part of it for the band. I'm very careful what to put out on social media and stuff. We didn't really want to send out like, "Hey, we're looking for a bass player." We
Yeah.
knew who we wanted. We were thinking about maybe trying a couple different bass players, but Mr. Mike Nagy, who, like I said, he was our number one choice anyway, and we were gonna give him something. I mean, we gave him 5 songs, and like the first rehearsal, like he had him down. We were like, yeah, there's no reason to go anywhere else, and we probably weren't gonna anyway. Like I said, he was the guy
Hmm.
that we wanted and zeroed in on, and he has fit in beautifully.
Yeah.
Um, and Larry knows him, and he knew Larry, and that just made the transition easier. They spoke, we could, the three of us couldn't be any happier to have him there, and w we're motivated anyway. But then he's added a shot of lightning
Hmm.
to the band, and it's been great. And he's put in the first 2 shows this year with LA Guns. We had 2 shows with LA Guns this year.
That's great. I mean, you were great with them last year and everything, and I'm glad you had another opportunity to get out and work with them and everything. And I'm glad to hear that you said Mike is his
Yes,
name,
Mike.
right? That I'm
Yep.
glad to hear he's working out well. And again, all my best to Larry. I spoke to him, for a good bit That
Yeah.
night I met you all at Ram's Head, for the LA Gun Show. And he's a hell of a good guy. We were talking bass a little bit because I'm a bass player too.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
and he's a very good bass player. I mean, the whole band is just really, you guys are a really good band,
Yeah.
and
Thank you. Thank you.
everybody in the band is, just really brings it well. And I think, that you all really worked well together, I think too.
We
The
do.
band
I'm the
sounds
weakest
great.
link in the band. That's the funny
Oh,
part.
stop
Well,
it.
no, I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you, those guys, I mean, we all do, we get along great and we rehearse enough to get it. But I mean, those guys get it done, and it's
Mm-hmm.
great to see that. I mean, it's really cool to sit behind the kit, while I'm doing my work and just watching those guys,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, Larry, Larry brought some great things to the band, great bass player, and we had some really good times. But you have to respect his wish.
Oh,
And
sure.
he just
Sure.
didn't. I think it was really kind of around the Nazareth tour, which was 2 years ago, that he was like, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore, which was okay. We knew about it. We all talked about it. It was very open.
Mm-hmm.
And again, speaking to Mike on the phone, and he's just, if not to compare the two, but if you fell in love with Larry, you'll fall in love with Mike.
Oh,
And
good.
yeah,
Good.
he's just as yeah, he fits right in. So, we got lucky. We miss Larry, we love Larry, but if this was to happen, which it obviously did, we got the right guy.
Mm-hmm.
So we're very proud of that.
Well, great. Well, I'm glad to hear. And again, best of luck to Larry and his new ventures, his new things he's going to get into. And welcome again to Mike.
Yeah.
So great,
Yes, it's
great.
awesome. So, and we get back up there, and we will. So we'll introduce you to him. So
Sure, yeah.
yeah,
I'd love to meet them. I'd love to meet them.
yeah.
So tell me a little more about, you said you had done some more work with LA Guns this year. Where, and tell me a little more about that.
So unfortunately, those shows have passed. We did them, but
Yeah.
we played June 2nd, actually at Tally Ho. We
Oh,
went to
wow.
Tally Ho, which we played with them last year at Tally Ho.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was good. We did some good work up there last year and met some people up there, and we were lucky enough when we came back this year that we got to see some old faces and friends, and
Mm-hmm.
that was exciting. It was a great show. That was early in June, and then we just wrapped up a show last Sunday here in Hopewell, Virginia.
Oh.
Um, they played at a beautiful theater there called the Beacon Theater. It has some really good acts there, and we got that show because for the most part, LA Guns is touring with Tom Kiefer. Excuse me.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we were able to pick some of the shows around here that they were doing it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
And so those have passed. And as of right now, we're working on other shows, but we do have one more on the books, July 11th in Roanoke at Dr. Pepper Park. We're playing with Warrant.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Yeah, so
wow.
that's the next one.
I've interviewed Warrant lately too, and they're great guys. Great
Yeah.
guys. I think you'll like them just fine.
They're one
And,
of the bands we have not played with, so we're very excited about that.
yeah, they're good guys. They're
Yeah.
definitely good guys. I've had them on the show. They were doing something in Virginia, backseat events.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and that is in not well, Leesburg is
Winchester. It's in Winchester,
Winchester.
I think. Yeah.
Winchester, yeah,
Yeah.
Winchester. Leesburg is Tally. Tally Ho's a great club too, by the way.
It is a great club and really friendly people who run it.
Yeah, it is.
They're just we were it was funny. We came back and some of the people were like, "Oh, we're so glad to have you back." It's like, "Really? You remember," which is nice to hear, and it's a great it is. It's a great venue, great people and great music fans who come to listen to some good music.
Oh yeah, I was down there for a '97 Underground show. I've introduced Zebra a few
Oh,
times,
yeah. Okay,
and
cool.
they're great guys too. They're very very nice to me.
Yeah.
And I've introduced them on stage at Ram's Head a few times, and then I went down to Tally Ho and introduced them. And not only that, they let me stay backstage and watch the show from there. And I was hanging out with Randy Jackson's guitar tech, and I got to stand like 3 feet away. You know how every guitarist has their iconic guitar.
Yes.
Randy's got that double neck BC Rich. I was like 6 inches away, or six, a couple feet away from it.
Yeah.
And those guys were just great, just very, very gracious, very, very friendly. Their management's great too.
Yeah.
And
That,
lucky,
that's
good
great to
people.
hear.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. All the bands that we've been with over the many years, uh, you know, one was friendly to us, but wasn't really friendly to a lot of people.
Hmm.
But everybody's been, and it's always nice to hear that, when people are like that, because
Mm.
I don't see the point in being any other way. But
Right, right, right. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
you're not going to draw people to your shows, and you're not going to, if you can't get along with others, you can't play nice in the sandbox while you're on the road with another band, or be nice to the people and everything. You may as well, you're in the wrong business,
well, that's true. Though, but I did see, we've been very lucky because, like I said, we always had a motto of the things that we did. Like I said, be a band. So the other thing too is, look, when we started out was if we walk in and we see these bands that we all love so much, you cannot be a fan. You have to act like you're supposed to be there,
Hmm. Yeah.
And our very first tour was with Tesla, and I love Tesla. I was a big fan, and but you walk in and you're thinking to yourself, oh my God, oh my God, there's Tesla. I used to watch them on MTV and so on and so on. And they walk by and they go, hey, how you doing? You're like, hey man, how's it going? And you want to say, hey, can I get a picture or can I do this? But and I think they, the people who are in that sort of celebrity status appreciate not being a fanboy.
Right, 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 right.
And
Yeah,
we kind of learned that.
right. Yeah, you try not to do that. You try not to be that way,
Yeah.
and I've learned that on movie sets too. You
Yeah,
just
yeah.
can't. You can't. If you're going to ask for a picture, do it after your day's work is done.
Right.
Then you ask for a picture, or you get friendlier or whatever. Right?
Sure.
Do the fan stuff or whatnot. So you've got a few more shows coming up on the horizon here. Do you want to tell us about those in the time we have left?
Well, the only one we have right now is the July 11th. That's it
Oh, okay.
on the books. We're working on other shows. And a little bit in the all, now that we've got Mike on board,
Mm-hmm.
um, I mean, Bubba's been working on some material, so we'll probably start diving into that sometime in the fall, probably. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean, all good stuff.
Oh, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it is. And so you said the show on July 11th, you say,
That's
and
correct.
where did you say it was going to be?
So it's in Roanoke, and it's a place called Dr. Pepper Park,
Oh,
and it's great. We have played there many times, and the people who run it are wonderful people. They've been really kind to us because I'm not saying our hometown Richmond hasn't. Richmond's just not it's just not an original hard rock town.
yeah,
And
yeah.
for 5 years straight, Roanoke let us play there every year, and not only one show. There was I think one year we played three shows over their summer series, and it's a great outdoor venue,
Mm-hmm.
friendly people that come to the shows and love music. I mean, if
Mm-hmm.
not saying that other venues don't, but they love their music and they love when people come to town, and it's almost like a second home to us.
Yeah, yeah.
And so we're very excited to go back. We did not play there last year, so we're 2 years removed, and so um, very excited to go back there.
Well, that's great. That's great to hear that. And I've never heard of that venue before, but I'm sure it's wonderful. Is
Yeah,
it like
look
what's
it
up
up.
like? Oh, okay. I will.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
will. Uh,
Yeah, it's really cool. It's like an outdoor venue, and they have they do have like what they call pit seating, so you can get up to the stage, and then it's like a lawn, so you can bring chairs or you can rent chairs, and I mean it's great. It's really well run. Waynette Anderson was running it, and she couldn't have been a bigger help to this band, other than Neely and Chris of another radio show who helped us get our start. So
yeah, sure, sure, sure. Well, it's always great to have people, in the media and on radio that are willing to help bands,
it is. It is.
so Well, great. Well, look, I really appreciate you coming by and seeing us again. It's been great. Like I said, I really enjoyed meeting you and seeing your show last year with LA Guns. And,
Yeah,
again,
thank you.
I've been getting a lot of positive feedback from your music that I've been playing on the show. Real quick, and we have about 60 seconds here. Could you
Okay.
give us your website again and
Sure.
maybe just remind us of your upcoming show?
Sure. So we're Red Rain, and it's REDREIGN
Hmm.
band.com. So it's redrainband.com. That's our website. But also, we're on Apple Music as Red Rain Band. We're on Spotify as Red Rain Band. Facebook, Red Rain Band. Obviously, you see the trend here. Instagram, X. So we're Red Rain Band. Um, we are also playing again, to remind you, at Dr. Pepper Park in Roanoke, Virginia, July 11th with Warrant, and we're very excited about that. We just finished some other shows with LA Guns, and again was a great run. And we have some other shows in the works, but obviously you can't mention them until you, as well as you know of anybody, you can't mention anything until you sign the contract. So we're working.
Exactly.
And so, and then last but not least, it's just great to be back at 97 Underground, especially with you. You've been so kind to us, and thank you for that. But 97 Underground is wonderful, and believe it or not, every town that we go to or talk to, when people ask me where new music is, I tell them 97 Underground. So I know. Recently, 5 to 7 people have turned on 97 Underground. Now, many more, I don't know. They haven't told me, but I know 5 to 7. So that's new listeners.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Sammy, thanks for joining us again today. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you and speak with you. Folks, redrainband.com, and you can always hear them here on the back of the rack. So, folks, we'll be back right after these words. You're listening to the Michael Spedden Show, the back of the rack here on 97underground.com. Don't go anywhere. All right, folks, thanks for tuning in and listening, and hope you enjoyed today's interview. Remember, the Back of the Rack is on every Monday from 2 to 4 p.m. Eastern, and our replay is every Wednesday morning from 2 to 4 a.m. Eastern Time on 97underground.com, Baltimore's Pure Rock worldwide. You can download our free app and listen anytime, anywhere. Also, don't forget our YouTube channel. Hit the like and subscribe button and allow for notifications so you'll be the first to know whenever new episodes air. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.
Log on and crank it up. The station your mother warned you about. 97underground.com.